Destroyer here. I'm going to be concluding my review and testing on Tactical Link's Z360 Sling mount. This is an alternative to the no-mar carrier plates that many companies are making. For example, if you remember the contest we just recently had, we were actually giving away 2 Black Widow Arms no-mar carrier plates for the AR-15, M16, M4, AR-10 rifle. So what you have to do is normally you take off the buttstock, and underneath the Z360 sling mount here is the castle nut. You will need a wrench specially designed for the AR-15 castle nut design to remove this castle nut, and you simply unscrew it, and then once you have that unscrewed, you can then take off the carrier plate that comes stock that has no option for attachments. And once you take that off, you put on the no-mar carrier plate to replace it, which has ambidextrous, that's left and right, sling options, and then you tighten the castle nut back down. Then you put the buttstock back on, and you're good to go. Well, the problem with mine is actually a DPMS 308 Oracle. So it's actually got a lot of commercial parts in it that are not standard on a normal AR-15. So what that means for me in this situation was the castle nut would not budge. I literally took a butane lighter to the castle nut, heated it up as hot as I could, and it still did not want to budge. Even with the armorer's wrench, even with different tools I tried, a brass punch and a hammer, that wouldn't budge it. So finally, I just gave up. I conceded my defeat to DPMS. Congratulations, guys. Whatever you used in the way of Loctite on that castle nut is ridiculous, because that castle nut is never coming off. Now that that rant is out of the way, I started looking for alternatives. And I ran across Tactical Link's website, and what theirs does is their design, it's held in by 2 Allen wrench screws. I'm going to tilt this so you can actually see it. But there are 2 Allen wrench screws right in here. And what those do is they hold it in place, because it's actually a 2-piece system. And it clamps in around the castle nut and buffer tube. On the Gen 1, there actually wasn't the interlocking clamp mount, so it wasn't as secure. It was just flush. On the Gen 2, they made it lighter, and they reduced the thickness of the material up here while still retaining the strength, so that when you pull the charging handle back, it doesn't have the possibility of catching that. The thing I liked about the Z360 is it has a quick detach swivel design. Let me show you. So this is the swivel. The Tactical Link itself costs about $55, and the swivel cost me about $22. So it's a little spendy, but it's reliable. That's the important thing for me. And as you can see, there's a push button right here. Ball bearings, and there's springs in here. So when you push, it'll actually depress these ball bearings so you can actually move this out. So let me show you here. Without pushing the button, it does nothing. It's stuck. It won't go anywhere. You push the button, lock it in, and now it's not going anywhere. So I adapted it to a single point sling, because that's just my preferred method of carry. And I have not had any issues with this at all. I am very pleased with it. It was expensive, but at the same time, it was everything I could have hoped for. This has been tested by the company to hold up to 350 pounds. That is way more torture and punishment than anyone is going to subject it to under normal circumstances. The function is absolutely beautiful. I can't complain about it at all. It has a very quick detach. As far as quality goes, I think this is excellent the way they designed it. It's got steel reinforcements right here in the housing for the actual Allen wrenches that secure it. It's polymer with steel in the supporting places, especially in the actual locking mount for the sling. Everywhere else is polymer, so it's not adding a ton of weight, which I really appreciate. It's durable. I can't complain as far as the quality goes. As far as price goes, I would say it's a little bit more on the expensive side. So unless you absolutely cannot get that castle nut off and your only option is to send it into a gunsmith or to do this, my guess is it's probably going to be fairly close as far as overall cost. What I would do is, if you are at that point like I was, where you are either going to have a gunsmith do it for you or find another option, call the gunsmith. Ask them what it would cost. Tell them roughly what you're looking at as far as what they would need to do, and see if you can get a price quote from them. All in all, my initial impression was, yeah, it's on the expensive side, but if it's able to hold 350 pounds, I'm not worried about it. It locks in tight, it holds tight. I have never had an issue with it. It's smooth as far as detaching the swivel sling from the actual socket here. Quality of materials is excellent. I don't see the mount wearing out at any point in the future. I also don't see any problems arising out of this design. This is heavy duty steel they've used in this sling mount, and it's a heavy duty material in the actual hook on this sling, so I'm not worried there either. The only downside I've found to this is that because the Z360 covers over your castle nut, the buttstock cannot lock into its fully closed position, meaning you have to actually lock it one peg further back, which for me, I don't care. It's still short, so I don't have to worry about it. It's honestly not a deal breaker for me. For some it may be, so I do want you guys to be aware of that. But it's an excellent design in my opinion. So anybody, if you're looking for an alternative and gunsmithing isn't an option because it's too costly, I'd take a look at the Z360 mount made by Tactical Link. It does a great job, holds up well, it's heavy duty, reliable. Some of our military are even using it. It's just an excellent design.